What's up, everybody? Alessandro here from Tony'sPicks.com. Going to do a special fun video today for you guys. We're going to give you guys NFL predictions, division winners, playoff predictions, Super Bowl winner. Super excited for this. Obviously, football season right around the corner, less than a month away. Let's get into it. AFC East, I see a little surprise here. I see the Patriots taking this 13-4. Very easy schedule, I see. I think they take a step forward with Variable coming in. Don't get me wrong. I still think the Bills are going to compete in this division. I think they even beat the Patriots twice. Just the scheduling does not favor them. I see them going 12-5. Patriots, 13-4, 12-5 possibly as well. I think the Dolphins, middle of the pack type team here. McDaniel survives maybe one more season. 8-9. I see them going maybe 7-10. And then here with the Jets, bottom dwellers like they always are, 4-13. I don't think Justin Fields does anything with the Jets there. So, yeah, bottom dwellers for them. Move on to the AFC North. I think the Ravens are the number one team in the NFL probably going into the season, if not the Bills. Obviously, the Patriots I'm high on. I just think it's more of a scheduling thing. But here with the Ravens, I think their defense is legit. Number one defense in the league for sure. I got them going 14-3 this year. Pretty difficult schedule, but I still can see them going 10-0 starting the year off. I think they're that good. They're probably my Super Bowl favorites. The Steelers, I see them, again, middle of the pack type team. They are 9-8, 8-9 is almost expected at this point with Tomlin and, bum Rodgers. I don't see Rodgers playing the whole season. Rudolph's definitely going to get some playing time. Still, I think, 9-8, 8-9 type year for the Steelers. I got the Bengals at third, 6-11 in the AFC North. I have them here. Just, I don't see them, doing anything. A bunch of TikTok type players there. Obviously, Joe Burrow's nice quarterback to have. I just don't think he's ever going to win anything, at least with the Bengals until they get right. I don't see them getting right anytime soon. I just think they're fraudulent. 6-11 wouldn't surprise me. 7-10 wouldn't surprise me at all. The Browns, obviously, at the bottom of the division, 4-13. Flacco probably won't play the whole year. Shador and Gabriel will probably be getting most of the quarterback action here later at the end of the season. 4-13. AFC South is going to be another interesting race here. Give me the Titans to win this division. It might be a stretch. Obviously, the Texans are probably the favorites to win this division, but I can see, the Texans going 10-7, 11-6, and the Titans also going around 11-6, 10-7, or 12-5 even. Pretty solid schedule they have for them as well, setting up Cam Ward pretty nice. I think he's the Offensive Rookie of the Year favorite for me. I like that pick a lot. I think he's a special player, and I think he's definitely going to turn this franchise around. And right off the bat, no film on him. I think he's going to give the AFC South a lot of trouble. I can see them even winning the division at 11-6. Obviously, the Texans there at 10-7. I even think the Jaguars can make a step forward. Travis Hunter, I think he's going to be a special receiver there. Put him in the slot. I don't know necessarily about at defensive back, how he'd do covering like a DK Metcalf or one of those types. But, no, I think the Jaguars, 7-10, 8-9 type football team. And then, I have the Colts as the fourth place team there at the AFC South. A 4-13, 5-12 type year I see out of them. Anthony Richardson is just straight stealing money at this point. But, yeah, on to the AFC West. Again, I don't see the Chiefs winning the AFC West. I see them, again, middle of the pack, 11-6, 10-7 type team this year. I think the Chargers are the team to beat in this division. I think they take a step forward again in Harbaugh's second year. 13-4 wouldn't be a surprise for me. I see them winning this division. I see the Chiefs, getting the wild card slot here, 11-6, 10-7 type year. Broncos, I think, they take a step back slightly, Bo Nix sophomore slump. Some film out on Sean Payton in that scheme. I don't know, 8-9, 9-8 wouldn't surprise me. They still have that home field advantage playing out there in Denver. And then obviously in fourth place there at the AFC West, give me the Raiders. It's going to be 3-14. Tank for arch sweepstakes if they're smart. We'll see. 3-14 for the Raiders. Just trash, dumpster fire. But, yeah, that's basically the AFC. On to the NFC. We'll go with the NFC East first. I think the Eagles still take it. Everybody's talking about they'll take a step back. It wouldn't surprise me if they start 10-0, 8-0. They do have a pretty difficult schedule, but I think they rise to the crop there. And they've been talking basically, it's on to this season. We're not the defending champs. It's time to go be new champs and get the new title. I like that type of talk. It shows me that they're ready to bounce back and try to repeat. I think they go like 14-3, 13-4 this year. Elite team, one of the best in football. And then, right behind them, I think the Commanders, I think Jaden Daniels is the real deal. Yes, you're going to have another year of film out for him, or, whole offseason of film to look at. I still think he's special. I still think he can lead this Commanders to the playoffs again. 12-5, 13-4, even 11-6 they could probably get in. So, yeah, give me the Commanders there, second in the NFC East. And, I think the Giants are, 6-11s, looking like 7-10 possibly. That's being generous still here. I think, Jameis and Russ are going to keep them competitive. I just don't think they're going to actually win any games, at least meaningful ones. 6-11, 7-10 type year. Maybe they put the young kid in late, Jackson Dart. Yeah, I don't know. Giants aren't nothing to be too proud of here as a Giant New York type sports teams fan. Can't really rep the Giants right now. But I still don't think, they're going to be as bad as the Cowboys. I got the Cowboys as the bottom dwellers of this NFC East. Yes, you can call me a Cowboy hater, but you guys know the Cowboys are a dumpster fire. 5-12, 6-11 would not surprise me at all. Maybe they're even in the tank for Arch sweepstakes. I don't know if Jerry Jones is smart enough to do that. But, yeah, for the NFC North, I think this one's, cut and dry as well. I think it's still the Lions to lose. 13-4 type year, 12-5 type year. I'm seeing for them again. Serious offensive line, best in football. Bad running game. Badass running game. Excuse me. With David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs. Again, that big offensive line up front. Goff just has to manage the game. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta's a couple nice weapons to have as well. And that defense was legit last year. So I think they run it back again. Do I take them serious in the playoffs? I don't know. Probably not. I just can't get there with Goff. I know he has to just manage the game, but he has a hard time even doing that sometimes, honestly. So I think the Packers, finished right behind them there in the division, NFC North, 11-6, 12-5 again type year for them. Definitely see them making the playoffs, a wild card spot for them there. Do have a brutal schedule, but at the end of the day, they're a competitive team week in and week out. I see them, being a competitive team week in, week out, basically. With the Bears, I got them finishing third. I don't see them getting over the hump again with Caleb Williams, 6-10, 6-11, 7-10, maybe even 8-9 type year out of the Bears, middle of the pack. It'll be difficult to play them, late in the year when it gets cold out there at Soldier Field. But, this is a team, it's hard for me to want to back them seriously with the Bears. Maybe a slight offensive improvement there with the new coach, but still a lot of question marks for me. And then, I think the Vikings take a massive step back. I got them being last in the division here. No shot at J.J. McCarthy. I just think, he's got some heavy shoes to fill, going, 14-3 or 13-4 or whatever the Vikings went last year. Won a lot of close games. Don't know if they're going to be as lucky as they were last year. Defense is still elite, still nobody to play with. But I just think the Vikings are going to have a hard time putting points up. And with that close margin victory luck that they had last year, I don't know if it's necessarily going to go the same way this year. 4-13 would be, probably the bottom. I can see them. The schedule's brutal right out the gate. Check out the Vikings schedule right out the gate. For J.J. McCarthy to have to go walk in and play the Eagles, the Ravens, all these type of teams, first 2-3 weeks of the season, 4 weeks is brutal. I don't know. Vikings are taking a massive step back this year. NFC South, I got the Buccaneers still winning it. Todd Bowles, this defense. Mike Evans on the outside for Baker Mayfield, make his life a lot easier. If they can get this run game going, I think the Buccaneers division for sure, they'll run away with it. I got the Panthers, believe it or not, finishing second. I just think they take a step forward. Looking at the schedule for them, they got a nice cupcake schedule for Bryce Young and this Panthers team. 10-7 wouldn't surprise me. 9-8 wouldn't surprise me. They sneak in with a wild card spot. Again, Falcons are going to be right there as well, competing with the Panthers. 9-8, 10-7 type year I see from them as well. I think they'll be competitive, with Penix at quarterback, first-year starter. I do like a lot of what he brings to the table. We'll see how things work out with him. He's got some weapons around him, that's for sure. If they can just touch that defense up, I think the sky's the limit for the Falcons. But yeah, bottom dwellers in their division will be the Saints. No doubt about it. 3-14 type year I see out of them. Tank for Arch sweepstakes. I think they're the front runners. I think they want Arch badly. It'll be a perfect little storyline. Former grandson of Archie Manning goes and plays for the Saints. It's just Hollywood scripted, as much as I could say. Saints are trash, dumpster fire, on to the next. NFC West, I think it's the 49ers to lose. Still an elite team. McCaffrey coming back healthy. Super Bowl contenders for sure. We'll see if they take that step and actually get it done this year. Shanahan's never been the greatest big game coach, but 12-5 type year I see out of them. Rams, same thing. 9-8, 10-7 wouldn't surprise me. Not struggling, but battling with the 49ers there for that division. I think they could even get a wild card spot. Wouldn't surprise me. Just with McVay and his aging quarterback there, Stafford, I don't really know. A lot of question marks there on the defense as well. Just not too in love with them. 8-9, 9-8 type team, I think they are. With the Cardinals, I think they're very similar to the Rams. I think they'll be under the radar this year because a lot of people aren't expecting them to be, that good. I expect maybe an 8-9, 9-8 year, but ATS-wise, one of our go-to teams to bet on probably. We'll see. Obviously, it's early to still see. We got to see all these lines come out. But I like the Cardinals this year. They're probably not going to make the playoffs, but, for them to go 9-8 and 13-4 ATS or 11-6 ATS, we'll take that for sure. And, with the Seahawks, this is probably the most competitive division. I see the Seahawks being 8-9, 7-10, with the average Geno Smith there at quarterback. Still got that home field advantage there, up there with the home of the 12th man. They'll be competitive, but I don't see them making a playoff run or anything. 8-9, 7-10. So, yeah, I broke down both divisions or both conferences, AFC and NFC. I think for the Super Bowl this year, I'm going to pick the Ravens to make it there out of the AFC. I think Buffalo doesn't get that high seed. They don't get home field advantage, and they wind up seeing Baltimore in Baltimore, AFC Championship, and Lamar rights that wrong, gets it done, and gets to the Super Bowl for the first time in his career. Be a massive storyline. It would be, huge for the Ravens to get to the Super Bowl. A lot of people have been wanting that last couple years. Obviously with what Lamar brings to the table, it's exciting to watch. And then in the NFC, call it square. I think the Eagles somehow make it back. I still think they're the team to beat. Lions will be there. Washington, I think, meets them there in the NFC Championship as a 5 seed. I think they upset San Francisco in the first round. Who else I got? Philadelphia. It's going to be a repeat. Washington versus Detroit. Washington rights that wrong and meets Philly there in the NFC Championship. Philly versus Baltimore in the Super Bowl. And I think the Ravens get it done. 31-17. And the Ravens get their Super Bowl. And Lamar gets his ring. Would not surprise me at all. But, yeah, that's the 2025 prediction I have for you guys. The Ravens are my Super Bowl team. Call it square. Probably the number one team people are betting on this year. But I think it's for good reasons. They're the real deal. They right the wrong. And they get it done. Go Ravens. But yes, guys, check out what we have on the website. I'll be dropping more football prediction videos. I'm going to do a college football playoff prediction video as well. Give you guys, my top 12 teams I see there at the end of the year. Obviously, we got to navigate through reading all these people's or teams' schedules. But, yeah, I'll give you guys that video as well. Check out what we got on the site, Tony'sPicks.com. Use that 2-for-1 capper promotion. Use the 15% code TonyT at checkout. Let's make some money. Peace.